Hello, everybody. Why are so many people today experiencing mental health issues? Why are so many people struggling with all sorts of psychological problems? Obviously, this has gotten worse since COVID, but this is a trend that we were seeing for years before that, and it is impacting particularly strongly the richest, the most opulent societies in the world. There must be a reason for that, right? And this is what I want to talk about today. So the human brain reacts better to certain forms of human existence and coexistence than to others. The human brain thrives in certain conditions and stops thriving in a different set of conditions that are not well suited to the functioning of the human brain. For example, the human brain reacts very well to stability, to predictability, routines. The human brain reacts very well to comfortable, profound human connection. And it reacts poorly to chaos, to constant change, unpredictability, and an incapacity to form meaningful, productive human connections, and also it reacts very negatively to the perception that I am not contributing successfully and positively to my community, to society, to the world around me. We're experiencing right now a profound transformation, not only in the form of statehood that we inhabit, going from the nation state to the post nation state, we also are experiencing a profound economic transformation of our societies. And we can refer to this new economy that is being built around us, by us and through us with different terms. We can call it globalization, we can call it neoliberalism, we can call it the economy of the post-nation state, although that's a bit of a clunky term right there. I use the word neoliberalism, but you can say globalization, whatever you want. So we're experiencing these two transformations, a profound transformation in the form of statehood, an enormous transformation in the way that the world economy functions. And at the same time, our whole way of life, our whole way of being is undergoing a very, very profound transformation as well, in order to accommodate these changes in the economy, in the form of coexistence that we know as the life of the polis, right? The life of the political life, the way we organize ourselves into a society. And everything in terms of how we relate to each other, how we conduct our daily lives, is also changing. It's shifting to accommodate all of these big changes in the economy, in the political space. And we react poorly to those changes because our brains are not meant to accommodate them. So, what are these transformations in the way that we are, in the way that we exist, perceive ourselves, relate to each other, and relate to the self that is changing right now? The new neoliberal economy requires from us constant adaptability, constant change. We're being exhorted endlessly to be prepared to embrace this fluid existence of malleability and transformation. We're supposed to be able to change everything about our lives at the drop of a hat. For example, whenever people start complaining about jobs disappearing, poor working conditions, well, learn to code, well, move. So it's your problem. You're supposed to be more agile, more adaptable, more malleable. You need to have this personality that can constantly shift, constantly transform, And of course, in order to accommodate this kind of a rapidly changing, constantly shifting personality, it helps to shed all sorts of encumbrance, all sorts of things that weigh you down. You're supposed to become light and free floating, ready to move, ready to transform. And this is hard to do if you have formed very profound connections to your surroundings, to the place where you live, to the landscape that surrounds you, to the people around you, because the more of these profound connections you have, the harder it is going to, for you to be to change your personality dramatically whenever a new situation on the job market requires that. The harder it's going to be for you to move and to go do something else and change your life completely, pivot. This instability that we're supposed to embrace as something positive, as something creative, and it is actually conducive to awakening of creativity, but it's also extremely onerous, burdensome, painful, difficult to process for our brains. So the human psyche starts cracking because we crave routines, we crave stability, we crave an escape from an endless chaos that is just very, very hard for us to withstand. Of course, the question is it possible for the human brain to transform completely and just become a completely different in its functioning and setup? And maybe then we will be able to embrace this chaos and change and thrive in it and enjoy it. For now, it seems that the only way to do that is medically, through being constantly drugged, creating sort of constant chemical messing with the brain, which can bring all sorts of side effects and different issues. We have seen during the COVID lockdowns, the COVID lockdowns were sort of a crash course in what this new existence into which we are collectively migrating without ever having chosen to do so, what that existence is going to be like. So this is isolation, loneliness, the destruction of all of the familiar routines and ways of life. It's being excluded from productive life and just sitting there waiting for the larger forces beyond your control to release you from this captivity. And that's either going to happen or not. We don't know on which conditions. This is also an existence where we cannot manage our own finances without the constant support from those external forces that impose the lockdowns in the form of stimulus checks, right? We all lived in this UBI, Universal Basic Income. We all had a taste of that during the COVID lockdowns. This unpredictability of existence, just never knowing, never being able to make any plans. I remember how in 2020, all of the agendas that we bought at the beginning of the year, making our plans, thinking about what we're going to do and throwing away those agendas because things were completely out of our control. And so this is the reality into which we're moving. It is not to say that there weren't some isolated individuals, and I know one of them, who enjoyed this kind of existence. That happens, but it is rare. It's a rare exception of people who can enjoy and thrive in that sort of life for whatever reason. But this new normal is definitely not normal. The normal cannot be new, right? The normal has to be something that we're used to, something that we're adapted to. This is why we're seeing so many people cracking down under the pressure. And of course, as I said, this started before COVID. COVID was just a very intense experience of where we're all going collectively. Everybody got a taste of that. But we were on that path for a while. And the societies that were mm, leading the way in this transformation are the societies of the developed countries, the richest, the most opulent societies that decided to move away from the nation state model, the previous form of existence and coexistence, and try something completely different. And this is why these are the societies that were experiencing serious mental health crises before COVID and experienced them that much worse during COVID. Now, this transformation that I'm talking about is a transformation that has its effect on the way we conceive of ourselves in the world. It has an enormous impact on the entire human subjectivity, and it requires of us such an unnatural, such an, for us, abnormal change that it is proven to be a very, very difficult, painful proposition for most people, and rightfully so. So if you feel anxious, depressed, confused, that is exactly what a healthy, normal individual should be feeling in view of such a profound transformation. We don't have necessarily the language to speak about it, because the way this whole system functions, the neoliberal economy, the neoliberal way of existing in the world, is by positioning itself as just natural, something that happens by itself. It just arises in nature, right? They call that, it arose in nature. Nobody could do anything about it. It just happened, and we had to react as best we could. But the reality is that this new way of being is being set up because it is extremely profitable to a small group of people, but it is so immensely profitable and productive for them that they're going to create a whole narrative, a whole ideology, a whole way of justifying this as something good, as something normal, and we are the ones who are paying the price. In the previous video, I mentioned that I'm a conservative because I'm not extraordinarily happy about this change, be it on the level of politics, the economy, the human subjectivity, the way our shared coexistence is set up. And I think that I'm definitely not alone. There are many of us who are looking at all of this, at this constant expectation that every certainty should be eroded. We should just throw away our understanding of what constitutes a good life. We should throw away our understanding of love, of humanity, of human beings, of family, of what makes you a man or a woman. We should just erode every certainty, and then complete freedom would happen. But that complete freedom is a really, really limited sort of freedom, because all we're actually free to do in this new freedom is to change ourselves and try to adapt, constantly try to catch up. We're free to try to catch up, but we're not really free to do anything else. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. People told me that the sound wasn't great in the videos, so I got a new microphone. I'm doing this right now with the microphone. Please let me know if it had any positive effects, or maybe I'm mismanaging the microphone. And also, people made a suggestion that I shouldn't look at the table when I speak and rather look at the camera. That's not easy to me. I like, when I think, I like to look in different directions. But I have tried to look at the camera as much as possible and still not lose my train of thought. I welcome questions either here in the comments or in the comments on my blog, clarissasblog.com. And I will develop these ideas further in other videos and posts. Thank you.